Welcome back to another review video here on Squatting Quads, and today we are taking a look at the BOB46 from iFlight. This is a 5-inch FPV drone, but it's a little bit different than the other 5-inch FPV drones you might expect, and that's because it's designed more for cinematic filming, and because of that it actually has a much longer top plate than what you would expect a normal 5-inch drone to have. And the reason for that will become quite apparent very shortly, but it's mainly because of on the front here you can see that we're going to have an action camera, an Insta360 Go, and then at the back you can see that we've got a much longer frame, much longer body than you would expect for longer and larger batteries. Let me compare it to, say, the Deep Space Seeker 5 here on the left. And as I do a cheeky little peekaboo through the middle, you can see that the Deep Space Seeker 5 is much shorter than the BOB46, even though they're both running 5-inch props. And like I said, the reason that it's got such a long top plate, a long body, it's almost like a long wheelbase vehicle, if you like, is so that it can accommodate a larger battery, so that you can actually balance the drone better if you do put a heavy camera on the front, such as something like the Insta360 Go, which isn't massively heavy, but because it doesn't sit flat, it sits high, and that will push the front end of this quad down. And ultimately what you want to do is you want to shift as much weight as far back as you possibly can to counteract that, because what will happen with this and with any drone, the more weight that you put on the front and the less balanced your center of gravity is, the more it's going to tip forward, tip down, and then the front motors are going to have to work even harder just to pull that up and fly level and smooth. So you want to get that as balanced as you possibly can, so that those front two motors, or back two, depending which way around you have your center of gravity issue, are working as in unison with the rear or the front motors as much as possible, so that you're not putting extra stress on something else. Taking a look at some of the spec then of the BOB46 046S HD bind and fly from iFlight. It comes with a iFlight branded Blitz Mini F722 flight controller, a Blitz Mini 45 amp 4-in-1 ESC, obviously the DJI O4 Pro. It comes with Zing 2 2207 1750 kV motors. It comes with Nazgul branded props. They state that it weighs around about 455 grams without any sort of battery or anything else. Takeoff weight with a 6S 1480 mAh is around about 700 grams. Maximum speed is 165 kilometers, and it does fly like a much bigger quad, or it's got the torque, should I say, of a much bigger quad, whilst still having some of the agility. And I guess that's what this is all about. I guess I've sort of convinced myself I was wrong already, because I guess what it's all about is having that torque and that agility in one package, rather than having either torque or agility. So from a filming platform and from a filming point of view, I think this does really, really well. 8 satellites. We can apply presets in the PID tuning section. This is what the PID tuning is. Now I need to double check this and make sure that this isn't Betaflight defaults, because if this is Betaflight defaults, and I'll put it up at the end, I need to double check, it may explain why some of the flights I've had with it have felt a little bit sloppy, but we'll double check them. In fact, I don't think it is, because the Dmax is 0, but I need to double check, because off the top of my head I don't know, and I'm not going to commit to a wrong answer. So if this isn't Betaflight defaults and it's been done with numbers as opposed to sliders, then pause the screen if you need a copy of it. And then in filters, again, filters have been set up, so if you need to take a copy of them, pause the video now. In receiver, we've already set the receiver up, but we'll have a separate video in case you don't know how to do that. And then in our modes tab, we've set our modes up. So we've got arm, angle, GPS rescue, beeper, turtle mode, and pre-arm. Again, I'm going to have a specific video out shortly as to why I think pre-arm is essential on all other than whoops that are tiny. Down to GPS, and we can see that it is actually looking for a signal. We are well deep within the studio, so it's not going to pick one up from this particular position. We are nowhere near a window. Motor tab, we can see that it's props out, so that means that the props are going to spin this way and away from the camera, but it does mean if they pick up any rubbish, they're going to throw it towards the body of the drone, which is why that TPU cover is so good. This is the OSD that iFlight have kindly pre-selected for us. And yeah, video transmission we don't need to worry about because we're flying digital. And LED strip, there is some LEDs on this somewhere. I'm not sure where they are actually, to be fair. And that is a whistle-stop tour of the Betaflight settings and setup of the BOB46 from iFlight. If you've got any questions whatsoever, drop them in the comments down below. But I think it's time that we took this thing out and flew it. Let's go. So then this flight is probably the best one that we're going to be able to do to show off the capabilities of the BOB46, 46, 4.6, whatever it may be from iFlight, because we are flying with the Instago X5 360 camera, which, as you can see from the little intro where we took off, is a really big and heavy and cumbersome and top heavy camera. So the fact that we was able to get the camera so far back, and you can see from the top plate just how much space there actually is in between that top plate, or in between where the camera sits, should I say, and the battery, how much space we've actually got left there for bigger batteries. I will in general leave you to enjoy this flight, but I just wanted to sort of say that ultimately this is what this drone is all about. It's all about carrying something that's bigger, that's heavier, that's maybe a little bit more cumbersome, and this is the type of effort that it can sustain and fly. For anybody questioning, we was flying under regulation 16 of FPV UK, which means as long as we stay 30 meters high, we can do what we are doing. We had a spotter, we had two spotters actually of this particular flight. And yeah, we could see the drone, no problems, and everything was brilliant. So enjoy the flight, and I'll catch you on the next one. And moving on to the community spotlight. Excuse me, well, the smoke attacks me. First of all, we've got Dorfmeister saying, I don't understand LEDs on gimbals of controllers. I cannot see them, and they add nothing to my visual observer. And this was a conversation we had on yesterday's video, hopefully yesterday's video, or the day before, depending when I get this out, about why you would have, oh sorry, it was on the video where we compared like 14 different controllers. And Dorfmeister was saying, I don't understand why you would have LEDs around your gimbals. And we had a little bit of a debate. And ultimately, if you use a stick cam, it really does add something to that. Otherwise, I agree, if you fly an FPV, it's a bit pointless. If you fly in line of sight, fixed wing, that sort of thing, it does add a little bit to it. But otherwise, I completely understand what Dorfmeister's saying. Thank you very much for your comment. 1101NZ says, the issue with TX reviews is that reviewers get sent top of the lines versions with CNC gimbals, not the cheaper versions that most of us will likely buy. It's a really good point that you make, and that's why I think this channel has been doing so well recently. We don't get sent a lot of things from manufacturers. We have to self-fund most of the reviews that we do. Stick with me. The videos will keep coming, the quality will keep improving, the production value will keep improving, but there may be gaps here and there where we just put in shorts out or shorter videos. But that's why I've started the new series